Facts. Facts. Yeah. I don't know. I think that I've always been creative. This is something that I kind of ask myself, and maybe I'll ask you guys. Do you think that creativity is nature or nurture? Like, do you think that you inherit it, or do you think that like you're just like immersed? I don't know.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Weed and Wellness Show. I'm your host, Lucian.
Nina. What's up, guys?
And today we have a special guest, Vic Styles. We're out here in Brooklyn, New York. She's the founder of Black Girl Smoke.
What's up?
Thank you so much for coming on today. We're really, really excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. This is so fucking awesome. Yeah, I'm Vic. I am the founder of Black Girl Smoke. We are a digital community that exists to help erase stigmas around what it means to be a woman of color who consumes cannabis.
Very cool. It's really cool. I remember we first met. We met Vic a little over a year ago. Randomly, we were leaving a parking spot. They needed a parking spot, so we just did the switch. We swapped it up.
Yeah, but I think that you guys were wearing Weed and Wellness shirts.
Definitely.
And that's like what sparked the conversation. And we were like, what's that? And I think you like we exchanged Instagrams or something. And like that was like the start of everything.
So it's really cool. It's awesome to see it all full circle around. And here we are today in Brooklyn.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, the universe brought us together. For sure. That's definitely a fact. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to kick it off by digging in and going backwards in time to figure out, like, as a young Vic, what were the first sparks of like passion or like creativity you felt where you were like, oh my God, this is amazing, and like I have to do this, you know, like young artistic self.
So I was like always obsessed with fashion. And I would like cut up Barbie clothes, or like I would cut up my t-shirts and like sew them and dye them with markers. I would break my markers open and like somehow mix it with water and tie-dye these like little t-shirts and dresses for my Barbies. And I would do this all the time, but one time I had friends coming over and I like wanted the shit to be done before my friends came. So I thought that like it would be a good idea to put the clothes on top of a lamp to like dry it. And that shit caught on fucking fire. And my parents were like, what the fuck are you in here doing? Like, no, stop. And I feel like that was like also like the first time that my parents really kind of crushed my dreams a little bit, because they were like, what the fuck are you doing? No, if you want Barbie clothes, like we'll just go buy them. You don't need to make them.
Was that the last time you were allowed to make the clothing?
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. Like, no more of this. Yeah, absolutely.
No more speed dry.
Yeah. I think that was like my first memory, and I think I was probably like 7.
Isn't that so cool though? Like how like your life then comes full circle to like bring you into like doing styling and all the things. Yeah. But like even as a young girl, it was like you knew kind of like you just were like so drawn into it that you caught the house on fire.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. I don't know. I think that I've always been creative. This is something that I kind of ask myself, and maybe I'll ask you guys. Do you think that creativity is nature or nurture? Like, do you think that you inherit it, or do you think that like you're just like immersed? I don't know.
I think it's always within us. Okay. It resides in us, and we just have to search for it. I remember like I love to sing. Okay. I don't hit notes and stuff, but I love to sing. It feels great. But I remember when I first started to, really wasn't. I told myself like this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I got better at it, but I feel like it's something that can be nurtured. But I think it's something that
nurtured. We have. Okay. Nina, what about you?
I do think that it's something that's within our like essence or our spirit or whatever you want to call it. But I think it's a combination of both nature and nurture. It's like having these sparks or passions. And wherever they're coming from, I've seen videos of like little babies who are like dancing these crazy dances. It's like, oh my God, they had to have been like reborn, and like this is just in them, or it's like the things that I was interested in, where does it come from? Like when I was little, it wasn't always stuff that my parents were into, you know. It was like I had my own little sparks of interest in, like, gymnastics wasn't something my mom ever did. Like, I never saw her flipping around, but when I saw that, I was like, wow, I gotta do that, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, music, I was always into, and, like, my dad nurtured that because he's a musician. So I did have a lot of, like, nurture and creativity, but definitely stuff that, like, came out of my own just spirit, I guess. But yeah, I think it's both.
I want to add on to that. Like, I would say, like, in my this past decade of my life, I've tapped into my creativity so much more in so many different avenues. Just like when it comes to writing and singing and just creating. Even with building the communities we're building, you know, the whole. Yeah, but these past 10 years, I feel like I've really tapped in more to that side. Yeah.
What was different in these past 10 years? Am I allowed to ask y'all a question?
Of course,
yeah,
of
course.
Great. Past 10 years, relationships, you know, learning a lot about myself through relationships, you know, and then, you know, I had a gym for 10 years. So now that, during having that gym, when I opened that gym up, it was a CrossFit gym, and I had such the passion, like when I spoke of it, I had that big smile on, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, eventually kind of wore away. But I kept on, you know, I kept on with the gym. But while I was doing that, I started to explore just other things that made me feel good. I remember my brother's a musician as well, so when he would have shows, he'd invite me to do backup vocals with him. He was always, my brother definitely a big piece of me, pushing me and helping me tap into my creative side. So I want to say my relationship with my brother, we were living together over some of those years as well. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's ever too late, right?
Mm-mm.
To become not even to become creative, but like to tap into your creativity in new ways.
Did I give it to you?
You did.
Okay.
I actually gave it to you.
So what do you think about the nature and the nurture?
I don't know. Like, I feel like both. So my grandparents were artists, like painters. My grandmother was a designer. Like, she did everything. And so watching her growing up, like, I definitely think that planted the seed that, like, oh, you can live a creative life and, like, live a good creative life. Like, she traveled the world and had, like, all these fancy things. And, like, I was just like, oh, you don't have to be a struggling artist. Like, you can, like, do this thing. Mm-hmm. But my dad is, like, very pragmatic, was in the military for a very long time and, like, a very high-ranking officer and, like, very much so, like, creative. What are you talking about? Like, no, go to school and, like, get a real job and, like, become a doctor or, like, really make something of yourself. And so I had these two, like, opposing, I guess, ideas going on in my mind and in my life. And so, yeah, I went to college and I dropped out my senior year. So I kind of did both, I guess. Yeah.
I dropped out after my sophomore year.
You did?
Yeah.
What made you, why?
It just was like, what am I doing? It didn't seem like it was making sense from where I was heading, and it didn't really, because I was a musical theater dance major, but I realized I was like, I don't think the musical theater side is so much my thing, because, like, you think about it and you're like, what if I get stuck in a show where I don't like any of the songs, and then I'm singing these songs every day? Like, I'll lose my fucking mind if I'm stuck with these. And the people are all very dramatic, as they should be. It's drama, it's theater.
Yeah.
And I'm way more laid back than that. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, let me just hop into the whole dance. I only really was there because I wanted to dance. It wasn't so much the music in the theater. So I dropped out and just started, dancing, and I got my yoga certification. Yeah, I was like, fuck this. This is not gonna do me any good here. So yeah.
That's really brave of you. Really fucking cool.
You did it your senior year. That's even more brave, though. That's even more like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
So, like,
I just...
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah. I went to LA for an internship. And that was my junior year. And I fucking fell in love with LA. And mind you, this was coming from Alabama. I went to college in Alabama. So, like, the polarity, like, the difference between Los Angeles and Alabama, I was just like, oh, I have to get back here. Like, how the fuck can I get back here? And I went back to Alabama for 1 semester. And then at the start of my senior year, I was just like, nah, this isn't for me. I have to go, and I have to go now, because like if I don't go, I don't know, I just felt like this sense of urgency. Like if I don't go now, whatever's out there for me, I'm not gonna get. Like I need to go now. And so I fucking packed up my car and drove to LA and like never looked back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long were you in LA for?
10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you
long
really
time. 10 years.
You built your fashion, styling, design career out there.
I did, yeah. It was cool. It was fun. I like met people very quickly when I moved there who were like really big stylists at the time, took me under their wing, and like I got to assist them on a couple big tours and movies, and went out and did my own thing and really loved it. But like at the same time, I always had a blog. I always was like on Facebook and on Twitter. And then Instagram happened and people started paying people to post online, and it was like, oh wait, I could like make more money in my living room than I can like styling celebrities. I'm gonna do this shit. And then that's kind of where I am now, transitioning out of that though.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
So when was Black Girls Smoke born? In LA, or what conceived, I want to say?
In New York.
In New York?
So I moved here and didn't really have friends that were stoners. All of my weed friends were in LA, and like even the culture of buying weed when I moved out here, I was like, where do I fucking go? There's no dispensaries. Like it was just all so foreign and new to me. So when the pandemic happened, I started Black Girl Smoke as an Instagram page, mainly because my manager, for influencing, I have a manager, like actors or models have managers. She was like, you can't post that you smoke weed. Like, it's not legal. Like, are you fucking crazy? These brands are not gonna wanna work with you. Like, you need to find something else, to like a different outlet. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll start like a different page. So I started Black Girl Smoke, one as an outlet for me to just talk about cannabis and talk about the use, but then two, to find other women of color who smoke that I could just connect with during the pandemic. And like we kind of had a couple of Zoom calls, and that grew, and people, I don't know, people just kind of caught on to it very quickly. But that wasn't the intention. The intention was just like, I need a space to share this knowledge, or even like my lack of knowledge, things that I'm just now learning about cannabis. Like I needed a space for that. So yeah.
So you made a space.
Yeah, I created a space, and like I guess it was needed because people have been loving it, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, for sure, because it's like organically grown so fast, so you know people are loving it. That's like it really blossomed. So
yeah. That's
so cool to hear that. Just
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's also very like intimidating because it's like, do I know what I'm doing? Like I feel like I'm just making things up as I go, and they're great and I love them, but I'm like, I don't know what the end goal is, and I feel like sometimes, a lot of times, people have an end goal, and I don't know that I have one, or like a 5-year plan. I don't think that I have that.
Yeah, I mean that's okay.
Look, I don't have a 5-year plan.
Yeah,
we're working on those.
No, okay.
Those are the hard things for us. Like we're creatives, like, and we do our best at our planning, and we're working better. We're planning Q4 and stuff now. Like we're trying to get ahead.
Facts. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
But honestly, guys, it's like, what the fuck? The whole pandemic just showed everybody that like you could have a 5-year plan, and something wild can happen and just shake your whole plan up. So it's like, you have your intentions and like what you see in your future, but like, you know, your 5-year plan, like life doesn't always happen like that. But yeah, we're working on it.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
It's a Mike Tyson quote. I might be botching it up, but.
Do you want this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think that was like one of our things that we were going to ask, because it's like, you know, what's your kind of like vision for the future or hope for the future, or kind of like you know, where do you see the community heading in like your ideal world of like what would happen? But it's okay if you don't know that either, because you know, it's like, who knows sometimes.
I mean, I have ideas, but I don't have a timeline. So like, I see a tour of some sort. I see like some kind of festival. I see a thriving like digital video presence, maybe on YouTube in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, like the sky is kind of the limit, because I feel like anyone that's doing really cool things in cannabis, like, none of this shit has ever been done before. You know what I mean? Like, none of this shit that you guys are doing has been done before under like a legal umbrella. You know what I mean? And so the sky is the limit. There's no blueprint for any of this right now. Like, we can do anything. All of our dreams can come true, basically.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking exciting.
It's like creating a cool, like, new big clubhouse, you know, where we're like, we can do all the cool things that we want to do and, like, bring people together and have a good time and, like, remember what it's like to, like, have a passion for something and be excited to do it, you know, together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
A clubhouse.
Yeah. It's just a matter of choosing, like, which ones do we go at first. But like, right now, just Nina and I, you know, we're looking to bring in a CTO soon, so we can go for a seed round. But until then, it's like, because there are so many, we can do this, but only being two of us, it's like, we have to like really, all right, which one's we hitting? Which one are we going after first? Mm-hmm. Just, it's exciting. It's exciting, you know, definitely.
The strategy of things. Is that what you mean?
What do you mean?
Just like figuring out like how to go about it.
I got completely lost right now. I got lost. That happens. I space out. Hold on, I'm back 30 seconds.
I guess it's like it's the thrill of when you're doing something, like you said, you don't always know what you're doing. So it's like, we mess things up, you know, like everything is not, when you're doing something new, everything is not always like the right thing to do. You learn by doing. So like, it's just.
No, you're right. And you can't be afraid of that either. You can't be afraid to fuck up. You can't be afraid to like drop the ball sometimes, because you know that like, oh, okay, I had to fuck this up so that when it gets bigger, when it gets better, I won't make that mistake again. Yeah. You know? Exactly.
Which kind of leads us to the next question, which is like, what have a face that has been like some of like your biggest adversity or like in creating, not necessarily Black Girl Smoke, like but if you have, then yes, but like maybe in life or in creating the community. You can choose which one you want to answer, but like, what's been the most challenging part of it, if there has been a big challenge?
The most challenging part, practicing patience, I think, like, because no matter what, I feel like no matter what you're building, no matter what you're doing, you don't know when it's gonna happen. You don't know when that thing is gonna pop. Mm-hmm. And you just have to be fucking patient and diligent and disciplined and just keep doing it no matter what, because you have the faith that it is gonna happen. So I think like trying to have more patience with myself, you know.
I feel like, but you know, it's only a matter of when. Like, you know, like it's gonna happen. Yeah. Right? Do you feel that?
I think so. Yeah, I think
that certainty, so. Like I do. I think like, you know, it's definitely the community you've built already is amazing, and I'm sure like all your goals and dreams, you're gonna hit all of them. Like I really, really, truly believe that. I think you're killing it. It's so awesome to see. You know, the last what was the last series? The High Grow Yoga. Yeah. Like that was really, really cool. Like, it's really awesome to see more activation of wellness, because a lot of people talk about it and you don't really see it really doing getting behind it. So it's really awesome to see you activating wellness within your community. You know.
Thank you so much. A lot of the women that came, that was their first time doing yoga, and that was just so special because sometimes you don't know. I'm like, I enjoy weed and yoga, and my friends enjoy weed and yoga, but like, will other people enjoy it? And so even for people to step outside of the box of what they're comfortable with normally, and show up in that way was really dope too. So, and thank you guys for providing us with the cannabis for 2 of our sessions. Like, it really helped us a lot. So thank you.
Oh, very welcome.
Yeah, and everyone loved it. Everyone was like, wait, what is this? How do I use this? Can I use this? Someone emailed us. Was like, can I reuse this? We were like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, reusable. It was cool too that Sam was leading 2 of your classes, because it's been wild, because Sam is another connection that I have from even like years ago, because we both would teach class at Athleta. I would teach a class, and then right after my class would be Sam's class on Thursdays at 9:30 was me and 10:30 was her. And it was like we would always see each other, and one time I would stay and took her class. I couldn't usually stay because I had to leave and go teach somewhere else, but a couple times I would. But we never knew, right, that like secretly, like we both smoked weed. But back in the day, it's like you can't show up at the studio smelling like weed, because people will be like, you're in trouble, you know, like whatever. But those days are over now. But anyways, it was so funny because finally me and Sam like come full circle, and we're like, wait a minute, what? We like bump heads in the cannabis world. We're like, this is wild. But yeah, it was cool that she was like teaching. She's a great teacher too. Shout out to Sam.
She is. Sam is so fucking awesome. Sam is so dope. Like, I don't even know how we met. I think like, I don't know how the fuck, through cannabis shit. And she reached out and she's like, yeah, I'm a yoga instructor, and I was like, yo, how about we do this thing this summer? And it worked out really well. It was pretty cool. And that was her first time like teaching live since the pandemic. Like, she's taught online, but like not like in person. Yeah, and it was really dope just to see someone get back into it, you know, to be able to provide that space. It was cool.
That is, it's awesome to provide that space. And it's like, that was the tough thing, you know, group fitness, group yoga studios, like we were shut down here for so long, and like teachers really like got used to being in the virtual world. So I'm sure that was super special for her, like coming from a teacher point of view. Yeah. It was like, I love it. Every time I get the chance to be back and teach a class, I'm like,
in person.
Yes, like it gives you so much energy to like, and that's part of why I've always done what I do. But I think at a certain point, it's like sometimes you get drained, or sometimes you take things for granted.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic came, and it's like, wow, I would never take that for granted again. Yeah. Like being with those people all the time, and like it's like to the beat, and everybody's like getting stronger together, and it really helps. I could cry talking about it because it's like powerful.
Yeah. No, and you don't, like you said, you don't even realize just how powerful it is until it's taken away. And then you're like, oh wait, fuck. That thing that I thought I didn't like necessarily, I actually really miss it. And it's actually like a really valuable part of my life. And I think that like those of us that were tapped in, we really felt that about so many things, you know, like, oh shit, we really have been taking all of this for granted. Even rest, even like stillness and staying the fuck at home. Like, we were taking it for granted. Like, no one wanted to stay home, but it's like that was such a pivotal moment to like really tap into yourself. And like, I wonder how many people really took advantage of it, you know?
I know, sometimes I wonder too. It just seems like we've gotten spun so far into like madness since the pandemic that I wonder, it's like, but it's refreshing then, because you do come across people who feel like have tapped into it and tuned into it. So we just have to keep focusing on those people and finding them and like bringing them in and bringing them all together so that we can magnify that instead of the opposite, which is like all the noise I feel like on TV. Yeah. What do you think?
That edible smacked me. I noticed I'm talking very low.
Oh my gosh.
I concur.
You concur?
I concur. Do you concur?
Yes.
I love your whole style today. I love your outfit, your jewelry.
Thank you.
Super cool.
I lost all of these fucking rings. I really don't wear silver that often, but I lost them all. Thought I lost them. And then I refound them over the weekend. So this will be like my ring stack for the next couple weeks. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got these in Mexico. I love them.
They're really nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful. It's fun to like find your treasures that you've lost. You're like, yay.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Like the rosary that you found. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
You gotta start wearing it.
The rosary. I found this. So my grandma got me a rosary for First Communion, and I found it. I got some stuff out of storage, and then I was telling him, I was like, yeah, look, this is from my grandma. I put it on. I was just at home. And I was like, it's really nice, actually. And he's like, yeah, it is. And then all of a sudden I see you on like Instagram. I'm like, wow, wait a minute. This rosary Vic has on looks a lot like the one that I've got. And turns out we've got the same rosaries, and they're really nice. And like my grandma gave it to me and was like, just don't lose this. It's really nice, okay? And I remember her telling me.
You still got it.
I still have
so
it.
Special.
And, yeah, and you've got yours
from an estate sale. So I don't know who had it, where it came from really, but I found it in an estate sale.
So
yeah, that's where I find a lot of jewelry, like when I'm traveling or like thrift stores. It's like very seldom that I'll walk into like a store and like buy jewelry. I like it to have like a story behind it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, all of your pieces look like that, like your bracelets, everything. It's like really.
Thank you.
Can I ask about the flower company?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, how do you pronounce it?
Good Day Floor.
Floor. Okay. Good Day Floor. So the first drop was in LA. Is that correct? I was just looking. I was on Instagram like 2 weeks ago. Like, oh shit!
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
Was it LA?
So the first drop was actually in New York in November. And then we had a little delivery service for a little while from November until like January. And then the first legal drop was in LA. And we are in 2 dispensaries in LA.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's super cool.
Thank you. Yeah, we're in 2 dispensaries, 64 and Hope. They're 2 social equity dispensaries, both owned by Black women. So I thought that it was like really important to put our product in a dispensary owned by a Black woman. So that's why we chose those. And like also my friend, I have a really good friend that is also a Black woman who invested in both dispensaries, and I thought that was really cool too, just like the way that the story is going.
Yeah, it keeps it all like very cohesive, and
it does.
It makes sense.
It does. It's hard, you know. It's hard in this industry when you're a woman or when you're a person of color. Like it's definitely not an industry tailored to us at all, and so showing up in these spaces, it's important to me for us to like hold space with and for one another. You know.
Definitely see a lot of women coming together and supporting each other in the space.
Yeah.
A lot of women's events, and you know, it's nice that you're showing up for each other.
Yeah. We have to.
Yeah, it's very important, and definitely it's like anything. Like what I said earlier, the more you magnify that, that's like the only way really to win in a system that's been obviously, you know, stacked against us. So it's like you have to really, and we just have to keep that message going, sticking together, empowering each other, supporting each other, and it's important too. It's important where we put our money. Yeah. And I believe that so much. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys, like at a certain point we've got to really like pay attention to where we can't just order mindlessly off Amazon all the time. We have to stop this shit and like understand where we're getting our things from, you know, and like at the end of the day how that's affecting the bigger picture, which can be overwhelming to think about.
Yeah, it is, because then you feel so small. But I do think that, like, you know, it makes you feel good when you do little things. You know, when you support smaller businesses, I feel better, like, when I can, like, see the person who made the thing.
Yeah.
Or if I can, I don't know, like, go to the farmer's market and meet the person who grew the food. There's something special about that interaction to me.
I agree. I think it's important. What's your favorite strain from Good Day Floor? Do you have a favorite?
I like that question.
Because that was a tasty little joint that you...
The Afro Puff?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's not my favorite. I mean, I like that one, but it's not my favorite. I don't know. I think it depends. So, Melanin Magic is probably, right now, my favorite. It's a hybrid, but, like, indica leaning, and, like, yeah, I think that's my favorite right now.
Melanin Magic?
Yeah.
Can we get some in? Can we get some here? Where can we find it if we want some?
Yeah. If you guys want some, I may have some here. If you guys want some, follow Good Day Floor on Instagram. Yeah.
I like my foot up.
I know, sometimes it is more comfortable to be.
This couch is not the most comfortable.
Cross-legged. Sorry. No, that's okay. I can angle this way.
Use. Super chill.
So then I guess this will lead me to the next thing. What has been out of the last, you started in the pandemic, which is like, so it's still very young. Has there been any like of the moments where you could say it's like the most special, or like one of your greatest like wow moments where you were like, wow, I can't believe that I created this, and it's like so sticking out in your memory?
Maybe Puff in the Park. Like, just to know the very first time we did it, there were probably like 30 people that came.
Wow.
And like this year we had like 3,000 people RSVP. Wow. We don't know if 3,000 people showed up like in and out of the day, but like 3,000 people RSVP'd, and that's just like, that was insane to just think about something that was created in my mind as just like this idea with no hopes, no like expectation of what it could be, but turn into that unintentionally. It just made me want to be even more intentional. Like, oh, okay, if this is what can happen on accident, right? I mean, there was intention, but like intention, I guess, without action, because I feel like I didn't put in that much effort, that much work. And so I'm like, oh, what happens if I plan better, if I plan further out? I don't know, I guess it gave me the fuel. And also, it was fucking awesome to be able to do it for free and like not charge anyone anything. And our community just was able to show up and like just be in the park, being together. And like someone came up to us and she was like, yo, thank you. This is the most Black people I've seen in this part of Prospect Park ever. And like to know that it was all free, that was cool. So like, if we ever do it again, I want to keep it free, or like very, very cheap for the community.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Was the first year 30 people was still awesome. I just want to say that.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
We had 30 people together.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, like we're creating communities that are, it's, you know, cannabis has always been underground, but we're creating different communities. It's not, you know, like, it's new and it's different, and it's kind of like, we're not starting here with like anything else. We're starting a little bit like underground and have to come above. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it
but
does.
30 people
and
the first year, that's amazing.
No, it was.
Your first event.
No, it was. I was shocked then. I was like, damn, I didn't expect anyone to show up. No, facts. Facts.
And then 1 year later, 3,000 RSVPs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was
awesome.
your 420, right? Puff in the Park.
Yeah.
Because we heard about it. We were like, because it was, everybody was like, yeah. I can't remember who told me, but they were like, they've got thousands of RSVPs. I was like, this is amazing. And we were doing like yoga at a different section of the park and then had to do something else in the city. 420 is like, it was like a work day.
It was cool that day. Yeah. We activated out of state that day. We had to go out to Massachusetts as well. We were in state, but we had what we did. We had ATG Cannabis, the yoga over there. ATG. So we had a yoga teacher in Massachusetts activate. So it's really cool. That was like one of our first being able to activate in another state.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea of Weed and Wellness is it's not just Nina and I, it's all of us, students, teachers, wellness practitioners, all of us who advocate for this plant.
Yeah.
So, the goal is to be tapping in and like Weed and Wellness, there's plenty of people who are Weed and Wellness already in all these different states, but we want to tap in and have leaders there to say, hey, listen, we have a Weed and Wellness event for all of us to come to. Let's come together, other like-minded people, and have a bigger voice together. So that's kind of like, it was really cool to activate out of state.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We definitely would have, I wanted to. We just didn't have time that day, but I heard everybody, I was like, wow, this is so cool. They've got a giant party. It's over in the park. I just didn't have time to swing through.
No worries.
But one of the people that dropped off cookies for us, or she dropped off, it was cookies. It was tortilla chips with an infused sauce. And she was going over to your event. Oh my gosh, why is her name escaping me right now? I'm too high. I want to say Esmeralda, but that might not be it.
Oh, I remember. Now I remember those chips. Oh, she gave us. I ate a lot of those chips.
And the cookies too, I think.
Damn. Were they good?
Yeah, they were good. I'm too high to remember, but she was on her way to yours then. After.
That's dope.
But yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Thank you.
When did you first start? When did you find cannabis? When did you find it? How did you find it? What Yeah. And then where does it mix in with? It's a 2-part question.
Okay.
And then with your own wellness when it comes to your fitness, your health, and where does cannabis tie into it? Where is that relationship in throughout your life?
Okay.
Whenever it started, yeah.
So, it started a long time ago. It started when I was 15. My parents were separated, and I was living with my grandparents. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was depressed. And my cousin was smoking weed, and she's like, oh, you should just try this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I tried it, and I liked it. And again, at the time, I didn't realize that it was medicine and that it was helping me. I just knew that I liked how it made me feel.
That's what I ask you. What did you like?
I liked the way that it made me feel. It made me feel less in my head about how fucked up things were. And then I just kind of kept smoking on and off until college. And then I'll say sophomore year, I dated a guy who was a heavy stoner. And I was just over his house smoking weed all day, every day. But then that was when I felt the most comfortable being creative. That's when I was like, oh, I want to be a stylist. I'm actually going to do this, and started styling things and really tapped into being creative. And I realized that when I was high, I was more creative, or what I felt like was more creative, or more free maybe to be creative. And then moving to LA, that was a whole different world, I would say, because in Alabama, it's very taboo, it's very hush-hush under the table. And I went to LA and it was like, oh, it's on shelves. There's a store that you can walk in and just buy this shit. It's in packages. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And then that sort of changed my relationship to it overall. And I just started diving into oh, this really is a medicine. This does this, this does this. I stopped taking any pain medication for period cramps. I would just smoke a joint. And then I would say when I really tapped in to using it for wellness and healing, was during the pandemic. I had 2 herniated discs and the most unbearable sciatic pain that one could imagine. And went to the doctor. They were just like, oh, you just need to do these exercises. You need to fucking have physical therapy. And they gave me some pain medication that I didn't want to take. Nah, I'm just gonna have to smoke hella fucking weed. And it was the only thing that allowed me to get back into my body. And I've just been using it almost daily ever since. Oh, and then COVID. Oh, wait. So then I got COVID, right? And I couldn't smoke, but I had edibles and the body aches on the first day, because the first day I'm like, okay, I can't have weed. Like I'm online Googling and it's like, no, the worst thing that you could do when you have COVID is like consume cannabis. And first day, the body aches were so unbearable. Second day, I was like, fuck it, I'm taking some edibles. I don't care. Took the edibles, went to sleep, woke up, no fucking body aches. My partner suffered 2 or 3 days with body aches until he finally gave in. He was like, are you sure? Are you sure it's okay? I'm like, yeah, that shit helped. Took the edibles, woke up, no body aches. And then I want to say a few months later, we started seeing these articles come out talking about cannabis is good for COVID. And I was like, see, nigga, I told you. Like, I told you this shit helps. Mm-hmm. But it's just helped me in so many different ways. Sorry, that was very long.
That was great.
Thanks, yeah. It just helped in so many ways. So many ways.
So do you use, like when you do, I know you're into yoga and stuff, do you like to consume before, after, or is there like a crossover?
Yeah, definitely before. I feel like it helps me tune into my body more and tune out of the world. I feel like without it, I'm not as mindful and present within myself. I'm still thinking about my to-do list, or I'm still thinking about the emails. But I feel like when I smoke before yoga, I'm really just like tuned into self.
What's your favorite way of consuming?
Favorite way of consuming?
If you have nothing going on that day, you can, it's like, it's not a work day.
Okay. I'm like, nothing going on. It's not a work day. So I have this Summerland bong, and I'm gonna hit that first. And then I'll probably wait like an hour and take a couple of edibles. I don't know, I'm just gonna be smoking all day if I don't have shit to do. And it's gonna be different ways, but right now I've really been loving that Summerland bong.
But so the go-to is smoking a joint?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. But I've really been enjoying some edibles. I started microdosing the edibles. Not really microdosing, like proper dosing.
Okay.
So I'm so used to like, you want to eat the whole package, you start eating it, the sugar. And so I started doing like an actual serving, and then you'll take it, and then you forget you take it, and you're like, oh my God. I'm sure.
How many milligrams?
See, I like, the ones I'm doing right now are 20 milligrams each, right?
Okay.
And those are good, but I've even had smaller ones. Wild had some like 10 milligram ones to get THC. They have like these little different blends.
Mm-hmm. With the CBD?
Yeah, they have a crossover with THC and CBD, and some of them are, CBG, all different formulas. So those are pretty cool. Because it's like, oh, you forget you take it, and the next thing you know, you're like, wow, I'm super relaxed. And that feeling that I get, that from eating the edible, that takes away the anxiety.
Yeah.
The anxiousness.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I feel super relaxed. And you're like, oh my, I ate the edible. Yeah. That's why. Like smoking chills me out, but the edible hits at another level.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you have a go-to morning routine of like, all right, this is what like sets you in the right mind space in the morning so that you can deal with all the stuff that starts to come at you?
All of the bullshit. Yes.
It comes in.
It does, yo. It's like putting out fires. Like that is all being an entrepreneur is. It's like, oh, you thought that this was good over here, but really this thing over here is about to explode, so go deal with it. It's crazy. It's a beautiful ride, but it's a crazy one. So yeah, mornings are extremely important for me. They're probably like the most important part of the day for me. I wake up pretty early, probably. Depends on the morning, but my alarm goes off at 6. I normally get up a few minutes before, so like 5:45, 6.
You beat the alarm.
I beat the alarm. Mm-hmm. Even like when I want to sleep in, my body just is like, no, get the fuck up. What are you doing? So I'll lay in bed for a little while. I'll let the alarm go off and I'll like put it on snooze. I'll maybe do that once or twice. So I'm out of bed by like 6:08. The first thing that I do is I journal. So I'll go free write whatever I was dreaming about, whatever I'm thinking about, whatever I'm anxious about. I'll just kind of like leave it on paper. Then I'll make tea, or I'll like start tea before or while I'm journaling. That's like, those happen together. I'll smoke after journaling. Then I'll go and like sit with myself in the mirror. Like I have like a little meditation yoga room, but like before I start doing anything, I'll just like look at myself and like kind of talk to myself in my head about like the day or like the night before, like, okay, yes, today's gonna be a good day, affirmations. And then I'll yoga for however long that takes. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. Then I'll meditate. Then I'll shower, put on music. Music is like a big part of my day also. And that's my morning. Somewhere in there, I have eaten breakfast and had more tea, taken some supplements, smoked more weed, and then I'll sit down and get started on work.
That's a great morning.
Yeah. It seems long. Like I kind of require like 2 hours, 3 hours just to like be by myself.
It's important. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To get that whole list done.
Yeah.
Like I know like when I don't do my routine or if I miss certain things, I feel like I don't feel right.
Same.
You know, so it's like,
same.
And it moves, you know, it's a lot, but it moves, you know?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, and it's not every morning, right? Like there are some mornings that are more hectic that you're like, oh shit, I have this thing to do, like I can't do all of this. But like that's the ideal morning routine.
Mm-hmm. What on those days, right? That you're pressed. What's the must? What's the have to morning? 3 things. Like if you're in the jam in the morning, or even the 2 things that have to be done in the morning for you. You know, like one of those days you can't get the full routine in.
Movement of some kind and writing of some kind.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not too consistent with the writing, but I try to do like free writing, just anything.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to do that. I gotta get back at it. I'm not doing it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just start writing out my what I'm trying to manifest right now, and that way I can really stay focused on it. You know. So,
yeah.
But yeah, mine is like. I mean, it's my ideal, but there's even some days where I don't get it done, but I have to get better at it. Like, I'm getting better at it. Like, today, I'm starting to, as soon as I wake up and I'm still foggy-brained, getting right to the meditation. Because I'm used to grabbing the phone sometimes. Like, even though I go on a good roll where I'm on it, but sometimes I'll pick the phone up first, and I feel like now when I meditate, I've already had so many thoughts come to my brain. So I'm like, it's best not to touch the phone. I put headphones on what is it, the noise cancel, fog everything out. But it's a matter of telling myself, like letting my body sit down and you have to meditate. Because if I don't, I feel all off. I'm getting better at it, being more consistent. But that's like my one thing would be meditation, and the next one would be the breath work. Just a few minutes, rhythmic breathing, some breath holds. I really feel those 2 things together, that's when I feel my best. You know, of course, movement, like those things will happen throughout the day, but that little combo.
What kind of tea do you drink? I have to know, because I'm a coffee drinker and I'm like, you know, I do a lot of other things that I'm supposed to do to help with my sleep routine right now, but sometimes it gets thrown off easily, and so I'm considering going to tea, but I don't know, because I don't know. I love coffee so much. I love the espresso.
But you can have both.
I know. I gotta like both. Wean my way off of it a little bit. What kind of tea do you drink?
It depends. So I use tea as medicine. So like if I'm on my cycle, I'll drink like a red raspberry leaf tea. If I need energy, then I'll drink matcha. It just kind of depends on like the day and what I'm going through. On a regular, I'll drink some sort of like turmeric ginger blend. I also really love like anything with hibiscus.
Yeah, that's good.
That one gets all, I think the red one, right?
Yeah. And then there's a company called Brooklyn Tea Co. And they have a vanilla Rubios that I really love too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But at night, I'll send you some on Instagram that are really good for nighttime. I don't remember like what they're called off the top of my head. I have to go like look at them, but there's a few that like will help you fall asleep.
I pray for your sleep.
Thank you. I fall asleep pretty easy. Like my roommate has this tea that's like a lavender chamomile CBD tea, and I tried it last night, and it's good. I fall asleep, and then I just wake up like early at like 3, 4, sometimes 2 or 3, and it gets like hard for me to fall back asleep.
That's the universe saying, "Wake up, Nina. It's time to meditate."
That's absolutely spirit telling you get up.
Well, but then it's like, what time should I go to bed? Like, then I've got to go, because I'm only getting like 5 hours. If I go to bed at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3.
That window, 3 to 4 a.m. is like a special window, they say.
Yeah, that's when spirit tries to talk to you.
Oh man, I just have to wake up and listen.
But I go through the same thing. That's actually fucking funny. Like, literally. And Jason tells me, he's like, you need to like listen. And I'm like, no, I'm going to sleep.
I want to sleep. I try to sleep. But, whatever. Maybe I should listen a little. I'll listen. I'll see if that works tonight.
Yeah.
I also smoked weed the first time when I was 15. So it's funny.
Really?
We have a lot of, like, parallel things. Mm-hmm.
Was it, like, with a friend?
It was with my best friend, Nicole Russo. She lives in South Africa. She's lived there for so long. She moved there when I moved here, essentially. So I'm 15 years. But
Where did you move here from?
Ohio.
What part?
Canton, Ohio. Well, Cleveland. I was living in Cleveland before I came up here.
I used to live in Ohio too.
No! Where?
Yeah, my dad was at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Is that in Dayton?
It's in Dayton. Yeah, I lived there for like 2.5 years. Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
It's very like Cleveland, I'd say, is super different from Dayton because it's like northeastern Ohio is really different from like down in like anywhere south Ohio. But although Dayton, I haven't spent too much time. So I don't know.
Well, it was outside of Dayton. It definitely was like, I don't know. I feel like Cleveland might be much cooler than where I was living.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I go down south into Ohio, I'm like, what's going on down here? Like, I liked Cleveland a lot, actually, and I still do. I love Cleveland. There's like a great art scene there, good restaurants, good people. We had like, I used to dance for the Cavs when LeBron was on the Cavs, and it was like so much fun. But yeah, and then when they won. Anyways, we don't need to get into that. What was I gonna say? Damn, now I forgot. I'm high. Something.
Medicaid.
Oh, Nicole. Yeah, we smoked weed. We had an opportunity to before that, but we were kind of like out at this concert and we were afraid and we were like, we were younger. We were in 8th grade and it was like, we saw our friends smoke weed and we were like, we're not going to do that because that bowl, it was like a bowl that came out of, they found it in a porta potty. We were like, we're not smoking out of that, but really we were afraid. We were like, it's, who knows what's going to happen. So then finally we got our own weed and we had the opportunity. And we rolled the worst joint ever, and we were just sitting behind her. Her dad had like all this property, and so there was an old abandoned like chicken coop, and we were behind it, and we rolled the joint, and we like smoked it, and we were coughing, and then we went inside. We like watched movies that didn't make any sense, but we were like, does this make any sense? And we ate ice cream, and then we just fell asleep. But we were like, when you get high and you don't realize like you're high, but you're high, but you don't really realize it the first time. That's definitely what happened to us.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, also 15. Were you a little younger?
I was younger.
Yeah.
6th grade. Yeah, I have an older brother.
Okay.
Older brother, and then my friend John. I'm not gonna say his last name. We're not really. We all grew apart, but whatever. He was my friend in elementary school. He also had an older brother. So I remember in elementary school, like we found like a little pot plant in the closet. I'm sure it didn't yield anything, you know, but it was like, but we found a pot plant in the closet. And remember then his mother, we would find his bong in there. But by the time 6th grade came, I also had an older brother, so 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't remember detail, I don't. But I do remember coming home and just ringing the doorbell. Like I remember standing outside, like, are they gonna know I'm high? I don't even know if I'm high. Yeah.
Oh. And here we are, grown adults. Yeah. Well, any other questions that you've had? You're just super high from the edibles. How many did you eat?
Like, was it just a strip? Just one strip.
Okay.
It was like a 40 milligram. Because I have gummies. The gummies are 20 milligrams each. There's 10 in there. And then there are these little fruit strips that are 40. Those are 40 each because there's only 5 pieces in there.
Oh.
But it's like a nice 40. But yeah.
Okay. Anything that you got coming up that you want to kind of like bring more light on or shine more light on? Anything that people can help, like initiatives or any way that people can kind of, help, I guess. That anything you want to let people know?
Let's see. We're working on a couple of cool campaigns, I would say, for fall. Specifically around Hispanic Heritage Month, and just what it means to consume cannabis as an Afro-Latino or an Afro-Latino. Because I think that's a conversation that also isn't had very often. And so many stigmas in that community as well. But you can follow everything on Instagram at Black Girl Smoke, but also sign up for our newsletter. The link is in our bio to like be kept in the loop on events or anything else that we have going on.
Cool. So that's where you guys can find out more, and be sure to check it out. I think that's our conclusion of this episode of Weed and Wellness with Vic. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to leave us with? Any words of wisdom or life mottos? Anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay. We're
high too.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
We're giving lots of high fives.
Yeah, I love high five. High fives and hugs.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you next time. We